5:45 p.m., which means it's time for BCTV's weekly media roundup, 5:45 Live. I'm Abby Sherlock.
And I'm Rowan Boyden. On deck tonight, the massive fire at the Newfane Creamery. And of course, with this being the first week of March, we'll have plenty of election night and town meeting coverage, including all the drama in Vernon, a one-vote win in the select board race in Brattleboro, Super Tuesday surprise wins for Bernie. Plus, we'll get you all the details on a gallery walk Friday full of events on our calendar.
All that and more in just 15 minutes, so stick with us.
It means so much to me that the people who know me best, the people who knew me before I was elected, who knew me as mayor, knew me as congressman, and know me as senator, have voted so strongly to put us in the White House. Thank you so much.
And with that, welcome back to this March 4th, 2016 edition of 5:45 Live. A look there at some footage of Bernie Sanders following his Super Tuesday victories in Oklahoma, Minnesota, Colorado, and oh yeah, he squeaked by in Vermont as well, where a more than 85% win rendered Hillary Clinton not viable for any of the Green Mountain State's delegates. Of course, Tuesday wasn't just Election Day in Vermont, it was also Town Meeting Day as well. We're going to get you highlights from across Windham County, update you on the select board races and more. But first, tragedy in Newfane this week.
That's right, a 3-alarm fire that broke out at the Newfane Creamery at around 2 p.m. this past Wednesday kept 9 different fire departments from across the region working throughout the day and into the night, with the blaze initially being contained around 11 p.m., but with flames returning shortly thereafter. Firefighters were called back to the scene, working until about 3:30 a.m. to get the blaze under control, an effort that took enough water to drain all 3 of the ponds in the immediate area. No one was injured in the fire, and it has not been deemed suspicious at this time, but little remains of the beloved town eatery.
Several fire departments responded to a 3-alarm fire that destroyed the Newfane Cafe and Creamery on Route 30 in Newfane, Vermont around 3 p.m. on Tuesday, March 2nd, 2016. The intense wind and structure of the building brought about challenges to the firefighters in knocking it down. No one was allowed into the second floor due to fears of the ceiling collapsing. Newbrook Fire Chief Todd Lowley said the owner was heading to the store.
Well, I talked to the owner, and he was coming down from his house back to here. The store was open. When he got here, there was smoke and fire coming up the back wall, and they have no idea what started it. They didn't even know they had a fire until he got here.
Route 30 was closed for several hours as crews tried to contain the fire, and no injuries were reported.
That's a look there at some footage courtesy of the Reformer's Tout.com channel, tout.com/BratReformer, as Reformer photographer Christopher Ratter put together those video clips and voiceover, uploaded them to the Reformer's Tout.com channel, where you can find out more about this and other Reformer stories as well. Thanks also to BCTV producer Nolan Edgar, who got us some photos and video of the Newfane Creamery fire the day after. All right, with that, it's time to move on here and tackle Town Meeting Day. And with BCTV recording more than 30 hours of video from across the 8 towns we serve, we prepared a short special summing up the highlights from all 8 towns. But first, south to Vernon we go, where an extra dose of drama has us kicking off our town meeting headlines. So where to start with Vernon? Well, if you remember, last week we reported on the dramatic twist the town clerk's race had taken after then Assistant Town Clerk Nancy Gassett used the town report for electioneering purposes. She, along with other town clerk contender Melissa Ferris, wound up losing to Tim Johnson, who had this to say to the town that elected him upon returning post-election to moderate the second night of Vernon Town Meeting this Wednesday.
The Vernon historians had a record-breaking election day. You all done yourself proud.
Meanwhile, in the select board race in Vernon, resident Brana Zaklever opted to take the town charter up on its loophole, allowing her to vie for not one but 2 different select board seats. but she wound up losing both of them, with Sandy Harris and Josh Unruh, both one-time board members, winning a pair of 3-year seats, while Steve Skibniewski was delivered a 2-year seat uncontested. And that only begins the excitement from Vernon this March, with the town meeting body approving by a definitive 677 to 153 vote a non-binding resolution to continue moving forward with development of a gas-fired power plant that would tie into the highly controversial Kinder Morgan pipeline. Now, this vote comes after potential plant developers Stonewall Energy Advisors had told town officials in Vernon that despite the non-binding nature of the resolution, the company planned to pull the plug on Vernon as a potential location for the gas-fired plant should the town meeting reps deliver anything short of a 51% vote this town meeting. As it stands, they will continue to assess if the plant is viable for Vernon. Now, voters in Vernon also approved an emergency transfer from the reserve fund to the capital fund, approved a controversial auditor's report, and had a lengthy debate over the cost of grave sites at the town cemetery and what they should cost for residents. That's just to name a few of the highlights. For the complete picture, you can watch both nights of Vernon 2016 town meeting, all this coming week on Channel 10, and stream at BrattleBoroTV.org.
Next up, this Tuesday was not town meeting day for Brattleboro, as they're the only town in the region to have a representative system, but Tuesday was election day and voters turned out in record numbers, nearly 45% of registered voters, in fact, to vote in the presidential primary and cast their vote for the one contested race on the local ballot, that of one-year select board seat. A vote that delivered the first seat to incumbent David Gartenstein with over 2,000 votes and delivered the second seat to newcomer Avery Schwenk, who defeated Dick DeGray by a single vote, winning by a total of 1,505 to 1,504 votes, something that caused the vote tally crew at the Municipal Center, Annette Cappy, to spend an extra 2 hours on Tuesday night going back through the votes, checking things like write-in votes to see if the one vote margin would hold.
So in the race for select board, there's one vote difference between Schwenk and DeGray. We haven't counted write-ins, and there is a possibility that there might be some clear intents, people that have marked the ballot and we can figure their intent, but they didn't do it according to the directions. They may not have filled in the oval, but they may have written in a name. So we're checking for all of those too.
Now, Cappy and her team were unable to discover any discrepancies, but with a single vote margin, DeGray is certainly within rights to call for a recount, a decision he's told the Brattleboro Reformer he will make by this coming Monday. According to Cappy, there have been at least 2 instances of recount in a select board race in the town's history.
Wild, but kind of exciting for democracy to have it come down to one vote, as that means every single person that did show up at the ballot box had that single vote impact. It was everybody's vote. That one vote was everybody's vote. Anyway, all right, moving on now, and as promised, our county-wide town meeting highlight clip. This year's town meeting got an interesting start following Monday night's windstorm, with meetings like Guilford beginning in the dark with no heat or power and only a megaphone for amplification.
Good morning, people. Can you hear me?
Meanwhile, in Dummerston, the school board got a round of applause instead of the traditional grilling after delivering a more than 3% decrease to the overall school budget. And joining several town meetings in the region was Windham County Sheriff Keith Clark, who was on hand to break down the wide array of options his office offers each and every individual town. And as is customary here in southern Vermont, the county's state reps made the rounds town to town as well to talk about happenings in Montpelier. The main question from their constituents for them at every stop: Act 46, WTF.
This is no longer going to be our school, our building, which we paid for. Now you're asking us to give this up.
We did try to repeal it this year, and the attempt to repeal it failed by a significant margin. What I'm suggesting is we continue to work within the structure that's there right now, but also to go slow, and I'm glad that the local Act 46 committee has decided to go slow.
That's our 1-minute summary of the 35-plus hours of town meeting coverage that BCTV recorded this week. But if you really want the full story from each and every one of those towns, or perhaps your own town or a town you're interested in, you can find them all to stream at your leisure at BrattleBoroTV.org. And in addition, the staff as a whole here at BCTV worked very hard to put annotated agendas for all these meetings up. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can actually click each agenda item and it'll take you right there, which is incredibly helpful if you're trying to search for a specific element of the meeting. We're very proud of that component of it as well. Again, all this at BrattleBoroTV.org.
Now, we mentioned that Brattleboro was not included in this Tuesday's town meeting craze, as their representative town meeting will come later this March, albeit with a wrinkle this year. after complications with town meeting procedure regarding the once approved but presently suspended police fire upgrade facilities project budget have forced the town to bring town meeting reps in for an extra special town meeting prior to the regular town meeting in order to approve drastic changes to the police fire project prior to debating the general budget a week later. This means Brattleboro's town meeting reps, officials, and concerned residents, along with everyone on the BCTV staff, will get a back-to-back dose of representative town meeting starting a week from tomorrow on Saturday, March 12th, with the Brattleboro Police Fire Facilities Upgrade Project special representative town meeting, and wrap up the following Saturday on the 19th with the 2016 regular representative town meeting. Now, in prep for all this, the Brattleboro Select Board, along with Town Manager Peter Elwell, scheduled not one but two different pre-town meeting info sessions, with the first of them from this past Wednesday focusing exclusively on the police fire upgrade project, and a second general town meeting info session slated for next Wednesday, March 9th at 7 p.m. at Academy School.
Overall, the board has concluded that the best alternative for the town that's most in the public interest is moving forward with the police station up on Putney Road. And that's really, I think, the topic for discussion.
That special info session hosted at Academy School this past week to prep town meeting reps and area residents for the upcoming special representative town meeting on the police fire upgrade project can now be found. We've posted it at our website, BrattleBoroTV.org, and it's going to show 2 clicks up the dial on our government and education sister channel, Channel 10, as well. Now, in addition to that, it's worth noting that the actual regular annual town meeting will be hosted a week later, March 19th. BCTV will be there to cover that as well, and there will be another info session in between, so you can get prepped for that as well. BCTV will be posting that prior to all the official town meetings, regular town meeting hoopla. Moving on here, back to the close-up. We've got an interesting week for I-91 bridge construction amidst all this town meeting chaos as well, as sections of the highway, Upper Dummerston Road, Route 30, and Putney Road all had to be closed to accommodate the delivery of several massive sections of pre-made concrete and steel. Some really cool-looking footage there of just what it took to get those giant chunks of concrete all the way from I-91 down Putney Road, around the Brattleboro Common and to the retreat, thanks to hardworking BCTV volunteer Russ Graybeck for getting that footage.
And with that, it's time to launch into our BCTV video calendar, which is all sponsored by the Brattleboro Savings and Loan, whose contributions to BCTV each year help fund our weekly look at upcoming events. And we'll start by mentioning that not only is it March Gallery Walk, but it's also the start of Student Art Month, and there are a bevy of youth and student art-related events going on in the region to celebrate, including the Arts Council of Windham County's High School Student Art Show opening night celebration at the River Garden, which kicks off at 6:30 p.m. tonight.
Now, the River Garden is also playing host to Brattleboro Time Trade tonight, as they're turning this into a joint venture with Time Trade getting ready for their annual spring extravaganza. In fact, they've already gotten ready for it. It's already going on. It kicked off at 5 and it's going to run through 8 p.m. tonight, so still time to get down there and check it out. There'll be a silent auction, live music, and lots of info on all the Time Trade opportunities they offer.
This weekend is also a big weekend for NECA, the New England Center for Circus Arts, as they get set for 2 7:30 performances of their 2016 Circus Spectacular tomorrow and Sunday night at the Latches Theater in Brattleboro. That does it for another edition of 545 Live. Thanks for checking in with us. We'll be back right here next week on BCTV Comcast Cable Channel 8 at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time. In the meantime, thanks for watching.
I would like to propose a slate of officers.
Oh, okay. Any other one I know?
Perhaps very well.
Is any discussion?
Are you sure you can work with me? I don't know. Oh, you won't be here that night. That's right, too. Yeah.
All right.